Hello, great people. Are you aware that there's another deadly terrorist group in Nigeria now called LAKURAWA? In fact, the artist that sang that problem no dey finish is very correct. The only thing is that this is not the time to enjoy. As asserted by the artist, this is the time to be on red alert. In this video, I'll be telling you about the LAKURAWA terrorist group. Who are their sponsors? What is their objective? What is their modus of operation? What brought them into Nigeria? How were they able to become a terrorist group and operate freely in Nigeria? Why is it that it took the army time, 6 years for that matter, before the army can be able to alert the public about this terrorist sect? What emboldened them? What is the action of the government? What is the military doing to curb the acts of this deadly terrorist group? I'll be telling you that and a whole lot more. And lest I forget, I'll also be telling you how this affects you. Perhaps you are in diaspora. Perhaps you are living elsewhere in Nigeria. Perhaps you think you are highly protected. Trust me, I will tell you how this affects you at the end of the day. So I'll be telling you all that and a whole lot more on this episode of Polythink with Dr. Omosholadeji. Do want to subscribe to this channel. Now, the LAKURAWA group are affiliated with jihadi groups from 5 different countries. You heard me right. 5 different countries. That means that the LAKURAWA guys emanated from 5 different countries: Mali, Chad, Libya, Niger, Burkina Faso. Again, I'll call it again. From Mali, from Chad, from Libya, from Niger, and from Burkina Faso. So you want to imagine that why is Nigeria so soft that all of them, they now find Nigeria as a safe haven? And they seem to be operating freely or operating for a long time, because these guys have been in Nigeria since 2018 during the government of Muhammadu Buhari, which I will come to in a moment. How the Buhari government, how the operations of the Buhari government emboldened these guys. I'll come to that in a moment. Now, the ideology of the LAKURAWA group is linked to the Kwari sect, which is similar to Boko Haram. So you can see that whatever you've seen that Boko Haram has done, whatever atrocity that Boko Haram has done in Nigeria, if these guys are allowed, this LAKURAWA terrorist group, if they are allowed, that means that they will do the same thing or even worse than Boko Haram. Now, they are operating mainly in Kebbi and Sokoto state. In fact, they have like about 5 or 6 local governments in Sokoto state, largely under their control, and they've been there since 6 years ago. So you can imagine that if terrorists have been operating in a place since 6 years ago, how easy would it be for the military to dislodge them? Don't forget that for that 6 years, there's no way 1, 2, 3 of those terrorists, there's no way how they won't have emotional attachment to some people in that community, in the community that they are operating. Some of them would have given birth to children in that community. They would have impregnated some of the people in that community. So you can see that 6 years is too long a time for government to now be trying to dislodge these guys, because a lot would have gone. They would have mastered the route, they would have mastered the terrain, and wherever they've been operating for 6 years would have now been regarded as their home. So you can see that the military leadership under Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, the acting chief of army staff, really has a lot on his hands. But how were these people able to stay that long without the military knowing? In fairness to the military wasn't aware early. I think I will blame the DSS for lack of sufficient intelligence, because the DSS is a secret police and they should be sniffing information, right? And I think I read somewhere that the DSS was aware, but they didn't take prompt action, and that is because of the Buhari presidency. Now, these people, how were they able to stay there for 6 years? They gained people's confidence by protecting them against bandits. When they first got to Sokoto state and Kebbi state, they were protecting the people against bandits, and people that their space is largely ungoverned or less governed. They saw these people as their messiah. What the military could not do for them, what the police and DSS could not do for them, these Lukarawa guys that just came into their community were doing it for them. So the people gained confidence in them that, oh, these people are trustworthy, they can always protect us. And you know that when you have confidence in people, definitely you won't find it necessary to raise alarm against them. Before I talk about the Buhari presidency, what is the mode of operation of these Lukarawa guys? What have they been doing? What are the atrocities that they've been committing? They've been flogging residents. That means that if you do something that they think is wrong, they'll bring you out in the whole full glare of the public and flog you silly. Now, the one that will surprise you is that they are not just flogging ordinary people, they are also flogging imams. In other words, some of them will sneak into your mosques as if they are part of the worshippers. They'll be looking at how you are coordinating things. If your preaching doesn't align with their own extremist values, they will come on another day when you are doing your preaching in the full glare of your congregation. They will bring you out, flog you silly, flog you like a mad person, then send you back into that mosque to go and be preaching according to their own ideology. You can imagine that they are even flogging imams in the full glare of the public. You can just imagine that you enter a church now, or where you worship, the mosque that you worship, or the church that you worship. Imagine some extremists, whether Christian extremists or Islamic extremists, coming into the worship center, bringing out your pastor and flogging him silly. You can imagine that in a country of law and order. Another thing that they've been doing is they've been imposing taxes. They've been collecting taxes from the people. That means that if you have a business, they'll collect tax from you, especially those that are selling cows. You know, those that have cattle, they will impose tax on them. There's something they call zakat. They will collect it from them, which is more like a tax. What have they always been doing? They've been killing people. Just this last Friday, they killed 15 persons in Kebbi State last Friday. So they've been killing people. And not only just ordinary people, they've also been killing security agencies, and not just kill them, they will cut away with their ammunition and their vehicles. Imagine the infantry. Just imagine. You know, that's why I said, may Nigeria never happen to you. Because when you sign up to join the military or the police, you didn't sign up to die stupidly, right? Imagine you being in the military and people from Niger, people from Burkina Faso, Mali, Libya will come into your own country and be killing you confidently in your own country. What a sad situation. And another thing is that to now make it worse, they are enacting laws based on their own beliefs. That means that in their areas of operation, Nigerian constitution is immaterial. They are not ruling based on the constitution of Nigeria. What they are using to rule in those areas is their own Islamic beliefs. That's what they are using to rule. They are not using the constitution. The constitution is irrelevant. Imagine within Nigeria, you are ruling with another law based on your own Islamic tendency. Now, what emboldened these people? I promised to speak about the Buhari presidency. Let me take a moment and do that. You see, every government has their own dynamics of emergence. That is what propelled that government to victory, what propelled that government to emerge, or the tactics that government played, the politics of emergence. During the Buhari time, when they were contesting against Jonathan and there was some desperation for power, the Buhari camp allegedly sent message to bandits. And I'll give you two references. One, I was watching Babangida Aliyu, the former governor of Niger State. He was on AIT, whereby he spoke about the kola nut culture, which is, if you are a Fulani man and you feel that you are having trouble or some people want to cheat you, that there's something that you will wrap around the kola nut, which is one of the olden days way of sending message, the ancient way of sending message that, Yoruba usually call it aroko, right? That when you send it across to your brothers across the border, you are telling them that you are in trouble, they should come to your rescue. And Babangida Aliyu asserted that the people in Buhari camp sent message across to Fulani bandits, and they came into Nigeria on the belief that if Jonathan do not hand over power, or if the election do not go into their favor, that they will use it to unleash mayhem, allegedly. You can imagine. You remember that famous statement: if this is tried next time, the dogs and the baboon will be soaked in blood. Now, you can imagine that. So these people, they've seen Nigeria as the soft spot. When Buhari became president, they see that, oh, when they are being pursued in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and all that, they are now scanning for where they can operate again. They see Nigeria as the soft spot. So the Buhari government did more harm than good in terms of, giving these guys a free place to operate. And why won't the locals? Because it was asserted that some of the locals were the one that invited some of these people to come and protect them. One, it is failure of the Nigerian security agencies, because when the army, the police is not responsive to them under the Buhari time, definitely they have to look for alternative. And when they see that the government itself, seek the service of these guys to come into power, why won't the citizen seek for their service when they are in trouble with bandits? So you can see that the Buhari government did more harm than good. Another reference, apart from Babangida Ali, the former governor of Niger State, is Kawu Baraje. Kawu Baraje said it on national TV that during the election between Buhari and Jonathan, that bandits were imported from outside Nigeria into Nigeria. So, and that is one of the things we are facing today. And where I have a bit of problem with the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that he has been trying to be politically correct. Some of the atrocities that were committed during the Buhari regime, Tinubu has kept quiet. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't exposed these atrocities. He's been trying to be politically correct, and that itself will be a major problem for him at the end of the day, because now it's at the end of affairs. And if you meet any Hausa guys, if you ask them, Nigeria CB now, who will go blame? Immediately they swear in Tinubu, they're saying, na Tinubu now, na Tinubu, na Tinubu. That's what all of them are saying, not knowing that it is Buhari that created some of this problem for Tinubu. But because Tinubu is not speaking up, people are now holding him responsible for it. Now, these LAKURAWA guys are inducting youths with 1 million naira. And that brings us to the question that who are the sponsors of these guys? Because imagine, for you to be able to induct people, to lure people with 1 million naira each, that means to just induct 100 people, you need 100 million naira, right? 100 million naira. That's what you need. So you can imagine how few in the two sets of their operations, right? 100 people for 100. So where are they getting the money from? Who is their sponsor for them to be luring people with as much as 1 million naira? But then, in an economy where there's poverty, where there's hardship, where there's no job, where there's no future, in fact, no destiny, why won't people collect the 1 million naira and join these people? You can see the failure of the Nigerian state, what it is bringing. Rather than for people to expose them, they are even joining them, because 1 million, some of these people that are collecting the 1 million naira have not counted 100,000 in their life. So imagine somebody that has not collected 100,000, that doesn't have hope of making such a money. You are now giving him 1 million. Why would they join this deadly group? But the good thing is that the army has deployed troops of Operation Fasanyama to do clearance operation. You heard me right. Clearance operation. Clearance operation means that clear them, dislodge them, no mercy, finish them. And kudos to Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, the acting chief of army staff. Maybe because he's still there acting, you understand? He's still there in body. And I hope he delivers so that he can be made the substantive chief of army staff. He has visited Sokoto State. He has given the troops the go-ahead to flush out these guys, and I hope that the troops will be able to deliver. But the truth is, people that have been operating for 6 years, that have known the terrain, some of these troops that have been taken to that place, they don't know the terrain. And that's one of my fears, because I don't believe that any military man should die stupidly because of some of the atrocities that were committed by these politicians. Now, that brings me to how it affects you. You may think that, oh, it's happening in the north, it doesn't affect me. I'll give you two reasons how it affects you. Number one is that the Nigerian army is a representation of Nigeria. Every ethnic group is in the Nigerian army. Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Edo, Ibibio, Ijo, name group, any ethnic group, they are represented in the Nigerian army. So if the Nigerian army want to deploy troops, some of your ethnic groups will be deployed among them. If you check those that have been deployed for that operation, Fasanyama, there are Igbo people among them. There are Yoruba people among them. So the question is, will you be happy to see your brother being killed? You know, your ethnic brother, if you love your ethnic group that much. So that means that there's no way you are not being affected directly or indirectly. Another thing is that this operation now is going to go public funds. So the fund that government is supposed to use to build hospitals and roads will now be used to tackle these guys, because as it is right now, the Lagos to Calabar highway that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is constructing, if the insecurity in Nigeria is too much, he has to suspend that project and focus on national security, because it is only when this country is secure that he himself can be president. So it affects all of us, because taxpayers' money will be used to dislodge this guy. So what I want to advise is that we shouldn't, because in terms of governance, governed spaces, we have four. We have the highly governed spaces, averagely governed spaces, less governed spaces, and the ungoverned spaces. These terrorist guys usually operate more in the less and ungoverned spaces, which is not supposed to be. Everywhere in Nigeria should be well governed. And I wish Major General Oluyede the best of luck. And I hope that at the end of the day, these guys will be dislodged so that we won't have another case of Boko Haram insurgency. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science, and this is where we relax, where we analyze politics and happenings in the polity. Do well to subscribe, do well to turn on your notification button, do well to catch up with my past and coming videos, and of course, you already know that I love you all. Sincerely.